After a fairly quiet week last week, we are back with a thick Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave news week with a few more gameplay clips, character reveals, and some more theories for you all. So sit back, relax, and let's break it all down as we've done every Friday up until the release of the game. Hit the subscribe button if you do not want to miss anything related to Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave. First of all, I must begin this video with an apology. A few weeks back, I made a way too early design tier list of all the Fortunes Weave design we got so far, and it turns out I made a too hasty judgment on a unit, and that unit is Fabio, who was revealed yesterday in more detail on the Fire Emblem's official Twitter account. I called Fabio's design chopped, and it turns out I was horribly wrong because this character, from the now more high-res render we have of them, has an awesome design to him, at least in my opinion. From the glass eye / lazy eye to the piercing empty blue eyes, the gaunt cheeks, and thin pursed lips, I have to say that I am a fan of how this character looks now that we have a more high-res look of him. So Fabio, I apologize sincerely, but now that that's done, let's talk about him. So we get Fabio's profile, and he is associated with House Lamine, coming over from Fodlan, like Dietrich, while it says that they lived in the same town, but they don't know each other. So I would assume they are from a fairly large city center and met for the purpose of whatever mission they have in Dagda, or whatever reason they're both in Dagda, as Fabio is a missionary from the Church of Seros, it seems, who often looks down on others, calling them beasts. He likes smart people and various types of pain. Very ominous stuff here. So Fabio does open up a whole can of worms of questions. First off, as a few people have pointed out, Agarthans frequently call people from the surface beasts. And Fabio has a stud type of earring, which is a feature shared by all of those who slither in the dark in 3 houses. And as we know from 3 houses, those who slither in the dark had infiltrated the church and multiple other levels of society in Fodlan. His association with the church is very intriguing, as I think it could be a cover for something more ominous from the Agarthan. We know that he's part of Dietrich's party, who himself is seeking to call something he refers to as an it in the first trailer. He is also using a hero's relic to do so, which is made from the bones of Nabateans. So there's a very real possibility to me that if Fabio is an Agarthan, they sent this party to Dagda knowing that it has a heavy association with their enemies, the Nabateans, but they are using the cover of being missionaries from the Church of Seros to gather more information or kill more of them, I guess, maybe. There is a possibility here that Dietrich's route might be the quote-unquote villain route, or at least one where the initial motivation of these characters is more gray or evil coded, in my opinion. Honestly, this leads to much more questions for me, especially regarding the timeline, since we know this takes place after the year 41 of the Fodlan calendar, due to the founding of the church happening then. So the events of the Red Canyon have already happened, and Sothis should technically be dead, but we've seen her in both trailers so far. So does Sothis being an adult indicate a sequel? Well, that's tough to say, because it is believed that in most routes of 3 houses, those who slither in the darks are eventually wiped out of Fodlan. So if Fabio is part of that group, then the ending of 3 houses are inaccurate. There is also the possibility that he isn't Agarthan at all too, that is very real, but it could still be a prequel set between the year 41 of the Fodlan calendar and the events of 3 houses, as the Agarthans were involved in a lot of ploys and scheme throughout Fodlan's history. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for them to try to eliminate Nabateans all over the world if that information became available to them. As for Sothis being an adult, as I said in a previous video, maybe gods functions differently in Dagda. If we're dealing with deities and a world where the kind of rules around the gods haven't been fully fleshed out and established, anything could happen, anything could be explained in any form of way that would somewhat excuse them being in the past, despite Sothis already being dead technically. Or maybe it has something to do with the time travel theory that we've seen online due to the description on the Nintendo eShop saying that this game has time travel shenanigans going on. That's just kind of like my theories that I'm floating around so far, trying to explain all these elements. But I'm loving this drip feed of information because it is leading to a lot of speculation online and a lot of discussion around this game. And one piece of speculation I've seen is that Fabio is actually Solon. And I can kind of see it. While at first when I saw that theory, I thought it was a reach because the main thing that they have in common seems to be the gaunt cheeks and the same earrings, or at least close enough in appearance. Well, Solana having gone through a lot of transformations makes it hard to judge if Fabio could be him at a younger age, because a lot of features do look very different on both characters. But for me, what sold it was the left eye. If we assume it is a glass eye, well, Solana also has a glass eye on that same eye. So that leads me to believe that that could be a very real theory, or it's just a little bit of a coincidence. So maybe we're about to get some major lore on that character and how Fortune's Weave builds into three houses, perhaps on that more minor level. But again, something that can muddy the timeline a little bit. But we also get a little bit of a conversation between Fabio and Tiara, where we see his personality firsthand as he complements Tiara's intelligence, and that seems to be something he seeks out in others. And we also finally get the name of the turquoise hair girl. She is called Esmeralda, and we can see a little bit of banter between her and Fabio, who doesn't believe she's intelligent, and we can see that she seems to have a more fiery personality in contrast to his more cold demeanor. But she has finally been revealed a little bit more. I'm expecting that her full reveal will come in the next few weeks. And now we can finally have some Fabio gameplay, and I'll pair this section of the video with the gameplay clips that were released on Wednesday because both clips are set in the same area seemingly, and they also seem to be within a few turns of one another. Here we'll see Fabio use dark magic. His class seems to be diviner or sorcerer. I would guess that is the mage of this game or some kind of mage-like class. The main thing from these clips here to me is the setting. I already commented on the last Dietrich clip where there were pipes everywhere and telephone looking poles and big mechanical objects, and here we seem to have some big mechanical pipes looking things again, almost a spaceship looking like floor, and the enemies are these blue hologram looking thingies. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but maybe Dietrich's route will have a bunch of weird maps, or maybe that's more related to the time travel theory I talked about earlier. Maybe Dietrich plays on that aspect of the game a little bit more. Maybe that's why the timeline seems a little bit muddied here. Again, all speculatory, but these maps are very weird looking so far. On Serene's Forest's website, they make an interesting observation between this room and the one in the trailer where Dietrich fights the gun lady or the gun nun. So that kind of looks the same if you look at the lights, but it's still to be determined. I think, you know, it's one of those things that's like, if it looks kind of the same if you kind of squint a little. So I'm not sure yet, but it could very much be that scene from the trailer. The last thing of note to me is that in these clips has to do with a quick hover over the red-haired lady here who is called Michaela and is in the gladiator class, which I love. This could maybe just be a renamed mercenary or fighter or any other class due to the context of the game, but I've always wanted a gladiator class in FE. Hopefully this is a unique one and not just a renamed one for flavor purpose of the setting of Fortune's Weave, but it does seem like the best context to drop the gladiator class to be this game, so I think that's pretty nice. Oh, and in these clips we also see a heart pop up between units as an action is done, but we'll touch on that in our next clip. That is the first time we see this animation pop up, and that has to do with the clips that were posted at the start of the week with a new Tiara clip and profile. We learn more about Tiara, that she is Kai's childhood friend, loves reading, and wants to become a tactician like her grandfather. We also get a conversation between her and Kai, showing off both their personality, and this seems to look like a support conversation at first glance. Something to note here is that Kai's eyes are yellow, and the gameplay clip that will follow will see his eyes being red. This could maybe be because things are happening in a different time, or maybe the red eye indicates some kind of power that he's triggering or tapping into. I don't know yet. This clip will follow up the Kai clip we got from a few weeks ago, showing off Tiara and what she can do. First off, we see her use combat arts, an offensive command, and defensive command, according to the translation I could get. She also has some sort of lance attack that is blurred, so I'm assuming that's because she can't use it at the moment. Her combat arts seem to have 1 or 2 range, but at the bottom we see it kind of highlighted in gold, the range that is, leading me to believe this might be boosted by something skill or item perhaps. It's still very up in the air. Here we can see her boosting Kai with the offensive command, and then the heart icon I just talked about pops up between then, which is kind of confirming to us that the heart icon we've seen in many gameplay clips so far seems to do with support. Maybe the support system works a little differently in Fortune's Weave. And in the rest of the clip we'll see her use physics with the assist skill, which is kind of just status staves and heal staves and stuff like that. The other important thing we'll see in this clip is one new character with the blue hair here, but other than that, nothing more or new stands out, just kind of more of what we've seen so far. But it's been a very busy week this week with what I assume is the tactician or the person that takes care of the strategy for both of these groups revealed yet. So I'm assuming that the next ones we will see will be for Lita and Theodora's group. All right, that is it for me. Let me know in the comments your wildest Fortunes Weave theory. I'd like to thank all my Twitch sub and YouTube members, but a big shout out goes to my tier 2 and 3 members here on YouTube. Those being the Brother 456, Forgotten Fox, Hirame, the Wolfman, Stormical CH, Grumpy Bear, Reploid, El Bunker, Faith Kiera, Santo Show, Newt of Roses, and Case. Don't forget to like the video if it was informative in any way, and thank you all for watching once again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.